Good day everyone. Today I will take you all on a guided tour through the Slovakian treasure, which is the Bojnice Castle, sitting in the small town of the same name, Bojnice. Castle Bojnice is about 100 miles, about 160 kilometers from the capital city of Slovakia, Bratislava. Bojnice is a well-known tourist destination, has the most beautiful castle in Slovakia, and one of the oldest and largest zoos in Slovakia. Also 10 minutes walk from the castle is a large, very popular spa resort with many hotels and pools and wellness and other procedures. If you are interested about the spa Bojnice, then you can access more information on my guided tour about the spa Bojnice in the link below in the comment section. On today's tour, we are going to walk through a nice castle garden, and then we will visit the castle and walk through the interiors of the castle Bojnice, and then we will walk around the large castle Bojnice. So I believe you will find very interesting this tour today of the most visited castle of Slovakia, which is considered one of the most beautiful castles of Slovakia and also Czech Republic. So the castle is about 100 kilometers from the Czech border, not that far from the large Moravian town called Olomouc. You can get here also from another large Moravian town. From the south is Brno, or from the north is a large town of Ostrava. According to the Bojnice Castle, is one of the oldest and most important monuments in Slovakia. It stands on a travertine mound above the city. The first written record of the castle dates back to 1113, the deed of the Zobor Abbey. Bojnice Castle was originally a wooden castle, an upgrade of the former hill fort. Over the course of the 13th century, the castle was rebuilt in stone by the Poznan family. Bojnice Castle is surrounded by a landscape park. Originally, it was supposed to be a romantic park with various attractions, all romantic ruins, etc. Like any such park, it did not end with a wall, but flowed freely into the landscape and between the adjacent houses. The park was quite large, so on the castle park was built a large zoo in the early 50s of the 20th century, and the zoo and castle is now separated by a stone wall. Our walk begins in the Bojnice Castle Park, from which there are nice views of the Bojnice Castle. Many different species and rare trees grow in the castle park, and the rarest tree is the 7th century king Matthias linden, which is probably the oldest tree in Slovakia. The first preserved records of gardens at the Bojnice Castle, or rather in the park around it, are from the year 1910. At present, there are several rare and interesting trees in the character park. We have now reached the pond with a rotunda. On the other side of the rotunda is a bridge with a railing on which people hang love logs. It is difficult to say whether they were inspired by a very popular Czech fairy tale which was filmed in these places. It is also said that under the rotunda there is a secret passage to the Bojnice Castle. Back to the short history of the castle Bojnice. The castle took on its current form only at the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries. It was originally built as a castle. The oldest written mention of Bojnice, and specifically in connection with the castle, is from 1113. However, we assume that it could have been a wooden castle at the time, and we can only speak of a brick castle from the second half of the 13th century, after the Tatar invasion, 1241-42. At the end of the 13th century, Bojnice Castle was seized by the Hungarian nobleman Matthew Czak Trenčiansky. The castle remained in his hands until 1321. Following the death of the Matthew III Czak, several noble families took turns in owning the castle throughout the 14th and 15th centuries. Families such as Gillett, Wolstach and Nordfrey families. In 1489, King Matthias Corvin donated Bojnice Castle together with the estate to his illegitimate son Jan Corvinus. After the death of the King Matthias, the Zapolsky troops seized the castle and occupied it until 1526. In 1527, King Ferdinand donated the castle to Alex Turzo. The Turzo family rebuilt the castle into a comfortable Renaissance residence. The original Gothic castle, this acquired the character of a Renaissance castle, with the residential building of the same height, grouped around an inner courtyard. After the Turzo family died out in 1636, the castle was returned to the crown. A year later, in 1637, Emperor Ferdinand III gave the Bojnice estate to Pavel Palffy as a deposit in return for 200,000 guilders. In 1645, the Palffy family became the rightful owners of Bojnice Castle. Soon after, construction works began again and the castle took on a Baroque appearance. Construction activities on the castle subsided at the end of the 17th century. The castle did not change much during the 18th and 19th centuries. After a long period of stagnation and decline, the Bojnice estate was acquired in 1852 by its last noble owner, Count Jan Palffy. Count Jan Palffy decided to rebuild the castle into a romantic castle. He used French Gothic castles of the Loire River Valley, the Papal Palace in Avignon, Tipolean Gothic castles, and early Renaissance Italian architectures as modules. The Bojnice Castle still hides architectural elements or parts of the interior of the rooms that speak of the original use of the spaces. However, the most visitors, they remain invisible. This is because the old castle, with its former function, has been covered by museum installations with non-original, almost exclusively artistic exhibits. This is obvious and logical, since the museum is a specialized art facility with a nationwide scope. However, the former castle was a building in which people not only work, but also physically live, with everything that went with it. The man who oversaw the neo-Gothic renovation of the castle was none other than the renowned architect Joseph Hubert. However, Mr. Hubert found himself to be a tool in the hands of the rich nobleman. Jan Palffy himself drew, designed, and managed all the works. This neo-Gothic renovation took 22 years, from the year 1889 to 1910, to finish. Count Palffy did not live to see the new glory of the Bojnice Castle, as he died in Vienna on June 2, 1908. As a bachelor, because he had no direct heirs, soon after his death, dispute broke out between relatives over the inheritance. In 1923, a friendly agreement was concluded between the heirs of Count Palffy and the government of Czechoslovakia at the time. The subject of the agreement was to determine which collections would not be subject to auctions. The auctions of Count Palffy art collections took place in the years 1924-1926. In a year 1939, the castle and the surrounding land were bought by the company Baťa. After the war, following the issuance of Benek's decree, that was the Czech president, the property fell to the hands of the state. In 1950, a museum, now part of the Slovak National Museum, was established in the castle. The Bojnice Castle covers an area of 4,000 square meters, and after the reconstruction was completed, it had 182 rooms, of which about 50 were living rooms. About 40% of all spaces are accessible to visitors during the tours, and the tours can take with the cave up to 2 hours, so it is very large. So normally over the summer, it is divided to 2 tours, and each tour will take about an hour. I prefer to take the whole castle as a once, so I would rather prefer to take both tours in once. So the rest set consists of the depositories, restoration studios and library, and archive, office spaces, workshops, exhibition elements, warehouses, attics and various technical spaces. Visitors climb 602 stairs during a tour of the castle when you will take the whole tour. Normally, as I said, it is divided to the 2 tours, so you will take 1 tour an hour. So the height of the highest tower of the castle is 82 meters. The crown with which is finished is not entirely gold, but the metal from which is made is gilded. Visitors are often interested in whether and where there was a torture chamber in the castle. Definitely, in the castle was torture chamber, because the Bojnice Castle was medieval fortress, so could not be without it. The last record of it dates back to 1848, but it disappeared forever with the reconstruction of the castle into a romantic chateau, in which it certainly did not fit the torture chamber then. Visitors are also very interested in information about the secret passage. Yes, there was and certainly is a secret or escape passage in the castle, but it was hidden by the reconstruction. There is an assumption that is lead through the castle, and there is also a legend about the connection of the well of the Bojnice Castle with the Piaris monastery in Prievidza, which is 3 kilometers from the Bojnice Castle. This passage allegedly lead all the way to the Švihov, that is the stone that we call like blind stone castle, and there is also some other rocks, which is some part of the close place nearby the Bojnice Castle that they believe that there was the secret passage. The castle is not called fairy tale by chance. As you can see, it is very rich furniture and the interiors are well designed and still alive. So the castle is not called fairy tale by chance. In addition to its beautiful architecture, it is also known for the fact that several films and fairy tales were filmed in its premises. Among the most popular are, for example, the fairy tale about the princess Frantagiro. I think 3 parts was filmed here. Several scenes from the fairy tales about the madly sad princess, and the fairy tale Joan's Secret. The current neo-Gothic appearance of Bojnice Castle dates, as I said, 1889 to 1910. The magnificent reconstruction of the original castle into a chateau created a distinctive architectural dominant of the entire immediate and wider surroundings. The chateau also received new living spaces in the towers, and its original interiors in the tower in the lower part of the building were also transformed. All this work was carried out by the Innsbruck company Gebrüder Kolly. In the individual rooms of the middle castle, the company works made murals, wooden ceilings, walls, windows, and door panels and floors. The company also supplied furniture to these rooms according to the order of Khan Jan Palfi. The preserved floors in the chateau are wooden and stone. Some rooms have a simple wooden floor in the form of large cassettes, which form a rectangular line with simple boards. Geometric inline in natural, almost identical shades of wood inland into squares. Hexagons and even circles can be found in other rooms. The floor in the winter garden has multicolor inline. The optical illusion here is created by square cassette assembled from individual smaller and larger triangles in different shades of brown. So I hope that you liked this tour so far, and you like it. I hope that you liked the gardens and also the interiors. As I said, there is lots of interiors that you can go through this. There is many floors and towers. So as I said, the whole tour will take 2 hours. That's why it is lots of rooms that you can see in the castle, and what I have shown, it is only a fragment of the interior. So it is only 10 minutes that we were walking there, and there is much more to see. But I hope that it has attracted you, that you will decide travel here and come to see the interiors and go around this place because it is beautiful. The generous reconstruction of the Bojnice Castle into a chateau in the year 1889 to 1910, in addition to the unamicable neo-Gothic architecture, also brought very progressive solutions in the individual interiors. In addition to the installed water supply, flush toilets, new steel stoves and fireplaces, the rebuilt building also received a unique hot air heating system in the orangery, today's winter garden. Count Jan Palffy gave Bojnice Castle its current form, and his ideas were transferred to architectural plans by Joseph Hubert. The castle is a kind of architectural puzzle of French Gothic castles, early Italian Renaissance architecture, and Gothic Tyrolean castles. Art historian Katrina Malečková says the originally unsightly Baroque complex has been transformed into a romantic, architecturally harmonious whole. Palffy had developed artistic taste, and his time he was one of the largest art collectors in Hungary. When the reconstruction of the castle began, Count Palffy was already 60 years old. He was an older and respected nobleman who owned a lot of property. But Bojnice Castle was somehow especially important to him, despite his exquisite artistic taste. Architectural historian Dobroslav Menclova assesses his approach by saying that he had no sense of the meaning of the original, and where he could not have the original work, he was satisfied with the copy. She also added that we must look at Palffy as a man of his time, since in the second half of the 19th century there was a common turn towards history. In architecture, motifs and elements from historical eras were often selected and used in new implementations, often as copies. This period is therefore also called Historicism, Neo-Renaissance, Neo-Gothic, Neo-Baroque, or Eclecticism, combining historical elements from different eras. Historicism mostly drew from national architecture, but this is not the case in the case of Bojnice Castle. Palffy was inspired by foreign travels, which is why in the architecture and decoration of Bojnice Castle we can also find a piece of the Italian Renaissance directly from Venice. The idea of setting up a museum in the Bojnice Castle came from its noble owner, Count Jan Palffy. In his will, dated November 14, 1907, he expresses his wish that the castle be made available to the public and that the works of the art remain in their original places for visitors to see. Okay, so I think that I have covered the general information about the castle, and this presentation, I believe that make you clearer picture what you can expect from this place. So you can find some more videos about Bojnice Castle and also about the Spa Bojnice and about the Zoo Bojnice in the section comments, where I will put more links to different videos and other videos that I have made already of the past, and you can find out yourself and decide whether you are interested to visit this place. Now we are going to finish the circle around the Bojnice Castle, and I recommend to you to stay until the end of this tour, because we will take the best spots that you can see the most beautiful views on the Bojnice Castle now. So it is worth to see more and to see to the end of this tour, the Bojnice Castle. When you like it, don't forget to subscribe to my channel when you have not done already. And you can also write some comments, and any suggestion or question, just leave in the comment sections and I will answer that. So, bye for now. you.